Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, sorry this video came out a little late, but today we're going to be checking out the NFL Divisional Round recap. So, let's hop straight into it. So, starting off with Chiefs versus Jaguars. So, our predictions for Chiefs versus Jaguars was Chiefs 38, Jaguars 28. The actual score was Chiefs 27, Jags 30. So, we actually thought this game was going to be a lot closer. So we were basically right with our scorings. We figured it was going to be about a 10-point difference, and we were only off by 3, which is good. Jags played a lot better than I thought they would. Both QBs played extremely well. Mahomes did get hurt, which will be a factor in our predictions for the championships, but he looks fine. He should play normal. Uh, I don't know if you guys all saw this, but Patrick Mahomes is getting really, really good at throwing in midair. There's been multiple plays where he throws with both feet off the ground. Wonder if it Now, what's I found interesting throughout this game is the Jaguars had 361 yards and the Chiefs had 362. So it was very interesting to see that both teams had very similar yards, and it got even crazier. So the Chiefs' longest punt of the night was 60 yards, and the Jags' longest punt was only 58. And then the Kansas City's longest field goal was 50, and Jaguars is only 58. So, like, it doesn't matter what position you're looking at, their yards were almost exactly the same, off by 1 or 2. One thing we did learn from the game was Kelsey is a beast. He put up the most amount of reception yards for the team. He had 14 receptions on 17 targets for 98 total yards and 2 touchdowns. And all in all, it came down to more of a defensive game, and Kansas City's defense just played better. They were able to hold the Jaguars and get that interception, which we're going to see right here. They were able to get that interception, which kind of changed the tide of the game because it didn't give the Jaguars a chance to score. Moving on, Giants and Eagles. So this one was interesting. My prediction was Giants 38, or Giants 21, Eagles 38. And Odin, my cousin who was in last video, you guys can check that out if you really want. He predicted that the Eagles were gonna lose the Giants by 10, which I thought interesting because, I mean, from watching the Vikings, you can't really say anything off the Vikings when they had the defense that they did. Now, the actual score was 38 to the Eagles to 7, so even bigger than I anticipated. I thought the game was gonna be a lot closer, but I don't know. It's the Giants. What do you expect? So, interesting enough, this is the exact score that the Vikings lost to the Eagles by in the NFC Championship in 2017, which I just found interesting. So, Eagles probably going to win the Super Bowl, guys. Because another interesting thing, Purple for the Win podcast, which I watch all the time, he pointed out that every team in the last 5 years that have won the Super Bowl have beaten the Vikings in the regular season. So that only leaves the Eagles. So you might see me put my money on the Eagles for the Super Bowl, assuming they win next week. We finally got to see the real Daniel Jones. So against the Vikings, he put up crazy numbers. He looked like an all-star quarterback. But, we finally get to see him play against a real defense and kind of show that he's a fraud. He's just good against the Vikings' crappy defense. Eagles kept it mostly on the ground. So, I can't remember. So Hurts only had 154 yards passing, whereas they had almost 300 yards on the ground, 268. And one thing that I noticed throughout a lot of the playoffs games is most of the teams that won, they kept it on the ground. They didn't put it up in the air as much as the Vikings. We kind of keep it up in the air a lot, which might be a factor to our close games. We don't trust our running backs enough. The Eagles completely shut down Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Those two combined had 131 yards versus the Vikings in the wild card round, and they only amounted to 85 yards versus the Eagles. So that's the secret to beating the Giants. Shut down their run game, and they're done. The Eagles' defense did what the Vikings couldn't. The Vikings could not shut down Daniel Jones. They could not shut down Saquon Barkley. When you watch that game, the only reason it was close was because of our offense, and that's a huge problem. So hopefully, and I will be making a video about this, hopefully we can hire a good defensive coordinator who can look at the talent we have on our team and put it to some good use. Bills and Bengals. So this one I thought was a very interesting game. I thought it was going to be a heck of a lot closer. So our predictions were Bills 24, Bengals 27. The actual score was Bills 10, Bengals 27. So this is the only score that we got correct was the Bengals. Sadly, I'll get better at it. I'm learning, but Joe Shiesty, he outplayed Josh Allen. It wasn't by a ton, but Joe Burrow put up more yards. He completed more of his passes, and again, Bengals had almost 200 yards rushing. They kept it on the ground most of the game, which in these snowy conditions, I'd say it was a smart idea. And Buffalo played mainly a passing game. They only put 63 yards on the ground total. And Josh Allen only completed about half of those passes that he threw. So, Joe Shiesty, he looking hot again. It could be Bengals and Eagles. I'm calling it Bengals and Eagles in the Super Bowl. It was not ideal passing conditions. Bills should have trusted their running backs a lot more. They have really good running backs. James Cook, who only got, I think, like 6 carries for like 13 yards or something. They could have done a lot better. Even with a banged up O-line, Bills only allowed 1 sack. So I said in the last video that I took the Bengals and the main reason was because Bills O-line was smashed. They were screwed. They gave up 7 sacks in the wild card round, but they only gave up 1 sack. So I don't know if that's just the Bengals defense being bad or if they stepped up a little bit. Both defenses, they were pretty quiet throughout the game when it came to like big plays. They didn't have a ton of interceptions. They didn't have many fumbles recovered, but the Bengals defense just outplayed the Bills. They held the Bills to only 10 points. I think had the Bills run the ball more, it would have been a lot more closer of a game. And yeah, all in all, the Bengals just kind of outplayed the Bills. But I really thought this game was going to be close. I thought it was going to be, 3-4 points difference. But Bengals went out there and they wanted that game more, so they took it. It'll be interesting to see what they do in the next game. Cowboys and 49ers. So again, another close game. At least what I thought was going to be a close game, and it was a close game. We predicted the score to be Cowboys 17, 49ers 20. So I did, again, say I'm 4 for 4. I'm picking winning teams, which I'm proud of myself for that. That's some good stuff right there for first time. And I was really, really close to these predictions. So I had Cowboys 17 and 49ers 20, and the actual score was Cowboys 12, 49ers 19. So I was off by 1 point there. Big shout out to Odin too, because he came up with a lot of these scores and a lot of reasons why. But it was a game of field goals. There was 6 total field goals throughout the whole game, which is actually pretty crazy. And the teams only traded 1 touchdown per team. As I said in the last video, I predicted that this game was going to be a game of defenses. Whatever defense played better, that was who was going to win the game. And I was right. Mainly the reason why I think the 49ers won was because their defense, they had 3 interceptions, I think. And that's what kind of turned the tide, because that gave 49ers more time to have the ball, more time for Brock Purdy to work, and that just gave them an advantage to score more field goals, get that 1 touchdown to put them in the lead. Brock Purdy, he outplayed Dak. Brock Purdy didn't have a single interception, didn't have anything. He made smart decisions, as he has throughout this whole season, and it would be really interesting to see him play in the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl, because he hasn't lost a game. He is the last pick in the draft, has never lost a football game in the NFL, which I think is absolutely crazy. Again, it seems like rushing teams have had the upper hand in the playoffs. San Francisco kept most of their yards on the ground. They didn't throw it in the air too much, and I don't know if that's just because they still don't trust Purdy, or if they just want to like not risk getting an interception, which it was smart because the team with the more takeaways, they win the game. But yeah, that's what I have for you guys. Video will be dropping on Friday evening about the next week's games, our predictions for the AFC and NFC Championship. I'm excited to put that out and hope you guys enjoy. Make sure you guys go leave your thoughts in the comments down below and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.